Hey folks, today I'm going to be taking a look at the Catalyst IR8140H from Cisco. This is a new addition to the industrial routing portfolio, and it really does take rugged routing to a whole nother level. You can tell just by looking at it that this isn't your typical router. First off, this isn't the shape you're probably used to seeing a Cisco router take. The IR8140 is designed to be mounted high up on a utility pole or on a wall outdoors. It's literally designed to take anything the elements can throw at it. That's also where it gets its unique paint job. This is actually a super tough baked-on enamel coating designed to last for years in outdoor harsh environments. The color also isn't an accident. Since the IR8140 is designed to handle the hottest days and the warmest climates, the white color and the solid metal chassis really helps radiate heat as efficiently as possible. This whole thing is designed as a giant, really efficient heat sink. Now, even though the IR8140 is a solid piece of gear, it's still a modular router that, like you might already be familiar with. In fact, the IR8140 has a lot more in common with an IR1101 or an ISR1101 than you might think. The brains behind all of these is the same, running the iOS XE operating system with CPUs dedicated to control plane processing, data plane forwarding, and application hosting. When you add in the new IR8100 and IR8340 to this family, we have a very efficient, feature-rich architecture that works well in lots of different form factors, from enterprise branch offices to outdoor equipment cabinets, utility substations, vehicles, and finally high up on a utility pole in really any environment. That also means that lots of what you learned about these platforms and many of the management tools you're already using will work with the IR8140. That's definitely true for Cisco SD-WAN, which lots of folks are standardizing on to manage their routers in lots of different deployments. All right, let's take a look at some of these modules. The IR8140 is entirely modular, and those modules can be easily accessed while it's mounted up on a pole or on a wall. In fact, the only active component on the chassis is this GPS receiver. Everything else, including the main CPU, can be upgraded or replaced in the field as technology evolves. This could really be the last router you ever have to carry up a pole. The CPU includes both fiber and copper gigabit Ethernet connections with PoE out, as well as the console port mSATA storage you expect on a modern Cisco router. Also on the bottom, there's an automatic valve to keep the air pressure inside the case equalized, as well as a DC power connection, so the IR8140 can power additional hardware on the pole, like a network-connected camera or environmental sensors. The three other module slots can take any combination of these hardened IR modules, or IRMHs. That will typically include a Cisco CG mesh for Wi-SUN compliant RF mesh in utility environments, and one or more LTE modules for lots of different deployments. This is one of those LTE modules. This happens to be a Cat 18 module compatible with a lot of different carriers, and it's also FirstNet certified. If you look closely, you'll see that this IRMH is actually using a port interface module from the IR1101 and ISR1100 inside. What that means is that there is consistency in both the hardware and software for the LTE options on all of these routers. You don't need to buy a separate PIM, since the IRMH includes that for you, but what you will see is identical functionality across a wide range of LTE connected routers from Cisco. That's going to continue to be true as we roll out new modules like 5G PIMs. All right, let's take this apart some more and see what we get. In the front here is something really pretty unique to a rugged router: batteries. The IR8140 can use 0, 1 in this case, 2 or 3 batteries, providing progressively longer runtime for the router and attached PoE or DC powered equipment in the event of a main power failure. Now, since this guy is often used in power utilities and connected communities, it's important that he's able to maintain communication during power outages. That's important to troubleshoot and repair the problem, as well as provide critical public safety communication when the power goes out. Around on the back of the IR8140 is the one component that can't be replaced when it's mounted high up on a pole or wall, and that's the power supply. All right, that's a full teardown of the IR8140. Now you've seen how everything fits together, but that doesn't really tell you much about the IR8140 in its natural habitat. As it just so happens, we're in the middle of an upgrade on the Cisco campus that's going to be perfect for us to take a look at. Let's head outside to see this guy in action. On campus here, we currently run a Y-Sun mesh across the campus to control lighting in our parking lot. We also use this setup to demonstrate the technologies and the connectivity used in smart grids and connected communities everywhere. Today, this network runs on top of the CGR1240. It's a connected grid router with a 4G and an Ethernet WAN connection. While the IR8100 does provide dramatic performance improvements and other capabilities over the CGR, we also tried to make several physical improvements while keeping it a simple drop-in replacement for anyone upgrading from that CGR. Let's go bring down that CGR so we can take a closer look at it next to an IR8140. We start by removing the CGR1240 power, the network, and the antenna connections. Then we remove the lower mounting bolts and loosen the upper bolts. That allows us to pull the CGR off the mounting frame. The mounting kit is designed so that it can carry most of the weight for as long as possible, so there isn't much work dealing with this heavy equipment. The first thing you'll notice from the CGR1240 is the way the modules are handled. The CGR is essentially a metal box with a door. Modules inside this box connect to antenna bulkheads and cable glands on top and bottom of the CGR with short antenna cables. We got a lot of feedback around the difficulty in changing modules in the field, especially while wearing heavy gloves, which led directly to the modular design of the IR8140. All modules install from the outside, including the route processor, which can be upgraded over time. Physical mounting and making connections on the IR8140 is straightforward, especially when you're replacing a CGR1240. For our upgrade today, we're using the same brackets, the same antennas, and the same network connections, which really speeds things up. Mounting the IR8140 is the reverse of what we did to remove the CGR. We use the two upper mounting bolts to hang the router from the frame, then install and tighten the 4 bolts on each side. After the router is secure, we connect the power, the network, and the antenna connections. To finish things up, we're adding an anti-tamper security bracket to the IR8140. Since the 8140 modules are easy to access from outside the chassis, we have to take a few extra precautions just to prevent folks from removing modules when they really shouldn't be. Now, all of this was just a quick look at the installation steps. If you're doing this yourself, please take a look at the hardware installation guide and work with someone that has experience in these types of installs, especially if you're working up high with heavy equipment and especially if you're working around live power lines. Don't do this yourself. And that's all it takes to swap out an existing CGR1240 mounted to a utility pole with a new IR8140. We tried to make this a super easy upgrade for folks that do this for a living. Since we're using the Cisco Field Network Director to manage this network, the new router shows up automatically, part of our campus mesh. We can even add this router to our SD-WAN. Shoot. I totally forgot that we were going to be adding a second LTE radio to this so that we could use this router in SD-WAN. Well, I guess this is a good chance to show off the modularity of the IR8140 and just how easy it is to upgrade a module in the field. Mounting the antenna for the second LTE radio to the pole is just a simple matter of attaching the antenna bracket to the pole. I'm using one of the new 4-element antennas that lets us use all 4 antennas on a Cat18 LTE module without any of the antennas interfering with each other. Now, I could use the antennas mounted directly to the router, but I'd be limited to only 2 of those antennas to prevent interference with one another. Adding the module to the IR8140 is a simple case of finding an open module slot, removing the cover, and adding in the module. Once the antenna is connected, the module is secure, the IR8140 is ready to go. The 8140 does support online insertion and removal, so we did not have to remove power, we didn't have to remove batteries or anything. We could do all of this in the field with a live router. All right, now we're really done. We have a rugged outdoor router that can withstand the elements and provide wired and wireless connectivity, rich edge intelligence, and application hosting across this campus. Now, this could just as easily be providing connectivity for a connected community, a public utility, or really any other outdoor space. The IR8140 takes your network wherever you need it to be. Thanks for watching.